Hey, Geekscapists, welcome to a brand new Geekscape podcast. I'm Jonathan London. This is Little Billy here. If you're watching this live on Facebook, what are we on? We're on the Facebook, we are on YouTube, and we are on Twitch. Just say hi to Little Billy. There you go. There you go. He's going to go away now, but I thought it would be a nice familiar face from the very first year of Geekscape. If you're a longtime Geekscapist, that means you go back to 2006 here, you'll recognize Little Billy here. Shout out for some of your longtime Geekscapers. Little Billy's going to go away now. He's going to go over here. You can just say that Jonathan's been going through the old storage unit and pulling out some of the old hits here as we celebrate like our 15th year of Geekscape, which is insane. I got a bunch of your shirts in the mail that I'm sending out to all of you. It took a while to get printed and make them just right. I actually sent some shirts back that had some bleed on them. They looked nasty. But if you did the pre-orders this summer for the shirt orders that said Heroes Wear Masks, 10% of it went to the ACLU. If you were part of that, your shirts are coming in the mail. I was trying to get them to you before Election Day so you can go around and make a statement, let them know that you believe science and that you're a Geekscapist. So if you're one of the people who's emailed me, been like, hey, I think I ordered a shirt. That's coming, right? Yes, the shirts are finally coming, and I may throw some stickers and some comics and some free stuff in there just to like make it worth your while. And like I said, I wrote a big check to the ACLU, thanks to you, because 10% of it went right to them off the top. So thanks a lot. We have a cool show for y'all today. We've got Mark Webber. He's a filmmaker. He's been on the show before. You may know him as an actor on movies like Scott Pilgrim and Matt Kelly's favorite, Snow Day. He's just a big Chevy Chase fan. Matt Kelly just cannot get enough Chevy Chase. He watches the whole thing every Christmas. We got that going on, and I know that some of y'all have been saying you want a few more reviews from me. I've been working like a dog on some editing and working pretty hard, but I've got a movie that I really enjoyed this week on top of The Place of No Words, the movie that Mark directed that he's going to be on the show talking about here in a little bit. I saw the Aaron Sorkin movie that's on Netflix right now, The Trial of the Chicago 7. This is about the 1968 Democratic Convention riots. I don't know if you all know about that period in American history. It was pretty dark, but also really paralleled what's going on today. So, we've been pretty active here on Geekscape. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. I just want y'all active in our process because I think the more voices that are in there, the cream rises to the top on that one. But watch this documentary, Aaron Sorkin. It's got, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in it, Sacha Baron Cohen, Freddie Redmayne. It's got just a huge, awesome cast. And he wrote this supposedly back in 2007 and used the court transcripts of these court trials to write the script. And it's Aaron Sorkin. If you're a West Wing fan, if you're an Aaron Sorkin fan, you kind of get what to expect. But I thought the movie was awesome. It's a little over 2 hours, but if you're looking for something that kind of gets you motivated about the power of your voice and your ability to enact change in the world when everything seems like it's against you, which is something that we definitely push you on Geekscape, staying positive and staying active. That's one that I definitely recommend. And I don't know what else. I was going to text Katie earlier today, and she's here waiting to be on the show. And I was like, Katie, should we just do like a live election night stream where we just kind of like watch either the horror show or the celebration wherever you sit on the aisle? Like, should we just do that live with the Geekscapists and just kind of see how the way things are turning election night wise? Would you Geekscapists be interested in that? If so, like drop it in here. Katie, what do you think? Is that like a nightmare idea? Is that a good idea? Because 4 years ago when we were filming in Brazil and the election night happened, I'm really glad there wasn't a camera on me.
I mean, that I was just thinking the same thing. I was like, I personally have not drank in over 10 days now, so I'm very proud of that. But that night, depending on how things go, I will be hammered. No doubt. So if we want to see election night and me get real sloppy, it's up to the audience at this point.
Will you get sloppy regardless is the question.
Yeah, honestly, probably.
Okay, so that is like a Geekscapists, just like you do on November 3rd or early if you're active, you have a vote here. If you want us to live stream on election night so you can watch Katie lose consciousness, feel free to just drop that right here. and Katie will definitely serve that up.
I don't think I've ever blacked out during an election. I think I almost came close last time, but who knows? Depending on how this goes.
If you want to see us kill Katie through alcohol poisoning, just come on over and drop it in the comments and be like, I am so down.
Oh no,
Katie drinking herself to that. What if like it starts going south, right? And then the blue wave happens where the late voters and some of the tabulation of the Western states start coming in. You've heard about this happening, the blue wave, that's what they call it. That midway through an election, some of the more left-leaning blue states start coming in with the tabulations, and things that looked a little red start going blue. What if that happens and you're already on your deathbed? Is that like a Romeo and Juliet situation where like they already drank the poison, but then you realize it was like a fake poison, but he's already dead? So like, oh shit, I died too soon.
Oh yeah, no, that's probably something that, I mean, I would counteract it with coffee. So maybe I'll have like in one hand, I'll have probably a whiskey, let's be real. And then the other, I'll have coffee. And so however the votes start going, it'll be coffee, whiskey, coffee. And then maybe I'll just like pour them together at some point and we'll just have it all as an Irish coffee. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, who knows?
All right.
Yeah. But probably it'll be too late for me.
Okay. So, I'm going to go with, this is what's going to be in my hand during election night. Let's do the live stream.
Okay.
I'm going to have a fucking trident.
Okay.
What?
Because you're King Trident? Like you're
no.
You're Aquaman. You want to be Aquaman. Jason Momoa. London Momoa. Okay.
Katie, listen, please. Yes. Please, we have to be serious. You watch The Walking Dead, and they're all like, "Oh, we got to use guns. You don't want guns because then they know where you are. Like they make loud noises. You can't use guns, and plus guns run out of bullets. And so so this is what you got to do. You got to keep distance, right? So, but you don't want like a knife. Like you don't want to like have close combat. You got to use something that has a little bit of distance to it, doesn't run out of bullets, doesn't create fire, doesn't create loud sounds. The fucking trident is something that you stick them. They're not going to crawl down the trident and take you out with a knife or gun or something like that. You can throw it. It has aiming, but it's better than a pitchfork because a pitchfork's curved. You can't throw a pitchfork as effectively as a trident. I'm telling you that Geekscape is November 3rd, no matter what happens, know that if shit goes south, you want to go with the trident.
Plus, it's going to have a trident.
Come on now. It's not about being in the ocean. It's about, being pragmatic.
I'm curious how your mind went from the election day, then suddenly zombies are definitely
it ain't like world. That. Oh, listen. You know there are zombies. You see them freaking marching in Portland and like these Proud Boys, right? You see these guys. You see these Proud Boys. Tell me how is that different than Walking Dead, Katie? All right.
That's a good point. It's a good point.
I'll tell you how it's different. Zombies can walk for a long time, and those guys get winded just going to Subway. That is how the difference is. But you got to get the trident, and then you got to have a net, right?
Okay.
You got to catch.
What are you catching now? You're gonna catch them all. You're gonna catch all the Proud Boys.
Yeah, you just want to trip them up.
Gotta catch them all. It's London.
I'm just saying, Katie.
Okay.
You don't want to just booze yourself to death. Like that's that. Come on, don't be a quitter.
I do want to know: are you going to be keeping all the Proud Boys in Pokeballs, or are you going to just like store them in a giant chest that like?
No, they have to go somewhere else.
Okay, got it.
They gotta go. Those are like the Pokemon that you just let
roam around. You're like, oh, you know what? You're not actually that high in status.
Geekscape can back me up. You remember when you were playing Pokemon Go and you got too many Pokemons and you had to just like sacrifice
sell them off or something?
Like that is what I'm going to be doing. The tides are changing. George Pepe over on Facebook is watching and he says, I'm pro Trident.
Speaking of George Pepe, I should have just bought all of his alcohol up because he was selling some alcohol there for a minute. Am I wrong in that? That was Pepe, right?
Yeah, I think George Pepe also says that if you put a Proud Boy in a Pokemon ball, that is the only balls they're going to have right there. So Geekscape is where we're going here. George helps us book some of the guests here on Geekscape. He's been a Geekscapist from the very beginning, and I love you, George. He's going through a little bit of a tough time here in like life stuff. Nothing y'all haven't seen me go through myself. And I'm glad you guys were there for me. I got to be there for George. George is selling off a ton of stuff. I think he's leaving LA and he's getting rid of a bunch of stuff. So George is having his own little fire sale.
So sorry about that.
And George, I'm saying don't sell off the alcohol because we may need Molotovs here in a little bit. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, it might be a good weapon of choice. Might be better than a trident. Just saying. It might be. I'm saying it might be. It might be. There's a high potential that, like, if you cultivate all of your alcohol, you could at least. Nope. Okay.
You don't know how to post-apocalypse.
Listen. I don't. I told you. I think I told everyone. As soon as the apocalypse happens, I'm done for. Like it's. My skills are very video game based.
This is what you do, Katie.
Okay.
This is Katie. This is just my advice for Katie. Don't do this, Geekscapists. The second you see that society's going to fall, open up your spice cabinet and just start spicing. Just start making yourself savory. Just start getting yourself ready to be cooked by a bunch of cannibals coming through.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah. No, that's.
Can you for once think about other people, please?
No, absolutely. You should absolutely stick a sprig of thyme up your ass so that you can be nice and toasty.
Okay. Geekscapists.
You heard it here first.
Started so positively, and Jonathan being like, "Hey, your voice matters. Go out there.
Vote on November 3rd or earlier if you can.
I got your masks. I got your shirts. We raised a bunch of money for the ACLU." And I couldn't leave well enough alone. This is what it turns into. Katie, I love you. Thanks for being part of this show. You know what? George Pepe says loves you too, buddy. So there's positivity. All right, let me introduce my guest.
Probably best. Let's get off this.
Mark Webber is no stranger to the show. He's been on the show a handful of times. I think I think the first one was a movie that also starred his son, Bodhi. And now he's got a new movie. This one comes out this Friday. You guys can watch it on VOD. It's called The Place of No Words. It's out this Friday on VOD. I went to this premiere last week, and you're like, wait, how did you go to a premiere doing COVID? Let me tell you how I went to a premiere during COVID. Infected. No, not infected. That's a lie. I didn't do that.
Coughing on everyone.
It was a drive-in premiere. Premiere. It was kind of cool. So Heidi and I got in the car. We drove into the parking lot. He had the whole blown-up screen, and we sat in our cars, and we got concessions. Everything was very safe. Everybody was masked. And we sat in our car. We had the popcorn. We had the drinks. I brought an extra couple sodas, a couple extra soda waters for myself, soda waters, as they would say back home in Texas. And we watched this movie. And the movie, I got to tell you, is hard to describe, but I'm going to give it my best, if you will. If you know Mark's stuff, and I think this guy is actually an auteur. Like they throw that shit around all the time. They always say, "Oh, he's an auteur." I can see how you think that a lot of these people are auteurs. I think Mark is actually like a early John Sayles level auteur. He is somebody who, when you watch his films, it reminds me a little bit of my hero, Richard Linklater. I was telling him the next morning on text that it reminded me of a lot of like the early John Cassavetes movies, or just John Cassavetes movies, period, where you don't really care about 3-act structure. A lot of the traditional storytelling goes out the window, and a lot of it is just about a filmmaker exploring a theme or a character, and you challenge the audience to do the same, and you don't leave the audience a whole lot of breadcrumbs of the traditional stuff, like, oh, there's an inciting incident and clear goals, and you want this character to, the movie's going to end when this character achieves a certain thing. You have to find the movie in the same way that the characters are finding the movie. So if I should be so bold, and Mark will come in and maybe back me up, be like, nope, I don't even know what you're talking about. His movies are always about people like searching for something. And this one seems like the most personal yet, although it is in part a fantasy film that I believe he co-wrote with his son, who is like,
that's cool,
5 years old.
That's so cool.
And what's personal about it is that, and I don't want to spoil too much about it, I really want y'all to watch this October 23rd when it comes out. The movie will challenge you. You might get restless and be like, I don't know what the plot is. I don't know where this is going, because it is father who is, the smallest spoiler I'll give you is that it is a father who is dealing with his oncoming mortality. He is sick, but he has a very young family, and he doesn't know how or if at all to broach this subject with his son, and they create a bit of a fantasy world. So you see the fantasy world as they journey for this thing that in a sense will save the son and save us all once the father is gone and can no longer be a father to him. And and you wrestle with like, what do you leave your legacy? What do you leave your son? And it is done so independently. It is such a beautiful movie, and it's ballsy to make a movie like this because it's not commercial. I'll say it right now. This movie is not commercial, but if you watch this movie, it will challenge you, and you will be left thinking about it. And like my ass, you'll wake up at 5 a.m. the next morning and strap on the running shoes and be like, I can't sleep. I have to get this out of my system. Yeah. And I didn't, you know what? I didn't care if it was too early, Mark. I'm sorry, but I texted you and was like, yo, man, I can't get your fucking movie out of my head.
I love the idea that Mark is sitting back right now waiting for you to actually bring him in, and you're just trying to muscle through all of your feelings without talking to him directly.
The movie is awesome.
He's just sitting back.
I'm excited. If you're an artist, or if you're filming, you're a musician, whatever, if you're an artist, I think, and you want to break that mold, like the prison system in your creative brain of it has to be like this because other people make stuff like this. I'd ask Mark. I don't actually think he sees that stuff. I think he's like Linklater. He's just like, I don't know what a 3-act structure is. Like, I don't see it. We'll see. We'll see if he is blind to this traditional stuff and where he got it. Okay, because he has been in traditional stuff. All right, Mark, you were on the show, man. I had to bring you out.
Hey.
What do you think? Am I off my gourd? Like, what do you think, dude?
No, man, you're totally very much on point. I appreciate your breakdown of it and your insight and what you got from it. And hey, I'm happy to be here.
Happy to have you.
I'm ready to catch some Proud Boys with Pokemon balls too.
Yeah, man.
Are you freaked? I mean, when you see those videos of these people, you're a little freaked out, and you're like, "Man, do I got to go get like active a little bit?" Because you're from Philly, and I don't think you're somebody who gives a lot of fucks. So I think the Philly would come out of you real fast.
It would very, very quickly. Thankfully, I've not encountered any Proud Boys in person. But would not hesitate regulating that situation if it ever were to occur.
Fuck the Trident. I'm going to Mark's house.
Yeah.
I mean, right?
Dude, Trident.
Protect me.
I get it. I see it. I get it.
I just feel like you'll get the jump on them because they'll be like, "Is that a fucking Trident?" But
exactly.
that is like a moment hesitation that will buy you time, right there.
Totally.
Probably to run away, but I'm gonna use it.
Uh-huh.
So, Mark, this movie, dude. I kind of want to start off with just saying like, "What the fuck?" Because one thing I said in our text was like, it's really ballsy for a storyteller to not lead somebody by the hand, and it is so tempting to do that with an audience and say, and it's total ego to be like, I need them to get this. I need them to know what I'm talking about. I need them to get the message, or to get in. And you do not do the audience's homework.
Yeah. I try not to. I definitely. The film is a positive meditation on death. Cool. And it's seen predominantly through the eyes of my real son, my 3-year-old son, Bodhi. And, I think whenever I start to make any film, I'm not beholden to anything, any set of rules, that's for sure. I wanted this film to feel different. I wanted it to flow differently. I wanted it to take some time. I wanted you to have to sit with it. Similar to how folks really sit with someone when they're leaving this
whatever
planet, whatever this
coiled,
is, And I'm obsessed with a certain type of emotion and things that feel different, and really wanted this to be a deep exploration, and when you're being guided by a 3-year-old, it can get interesting, Yeah.
Does it feel as ephemeral as a filmmaker as it feels to your characters? Because your characters, like I said earlier, seem to be always searching for something. And it's never like, oh, if they get the paycheck, they're going to get it. Oh, if they get the miracle cure, they're going to get it. There's never that thing in your movies that are like the easy solution. And because in life there aren't. But as a filmmaker, do you go out in that search on a technical level, on a story level, and have that, like, how much do you have a plan? How much do you go out there? And like you said, being guided into your film and your story by the 3-year-old, like, how much did you just have to be like, nope, the control, like, do you have any control freak in you at all?
Oh yeah, totally. And it's funny though, because I think in the scripts that I write, I really embrace knowing that this is going to evolve. So, and there's a lot of a meticulous bit of planning that goes into creating the environment, creating the setups, you know, and I write dialogue as more of a suggestion, you know, pointing us and leading us in the way of leading us towards a particular emotion or a feeling that I'm going for.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, and also too, I'm really benefit from the fact that I work with the same small group of people. You know, I have the same cinematographer who's shot all 5 of my films. And so we have a deep level of trust and understanding. We know each other so well. We know each other's strengths and weaknesses. And so we get a lot of that, you know, I don't have to worry about meeting someone for the first time and trying to develop that trust and how are we going to communicate. So going into something as ambitious as this film was in terms of its setups and the environment and where we were, it was great having people who have gone through this process with me before. We were able to dig deep and get even deeper.
Where were you? I'm sorry, Katie. Like,
No,
but once you see this movie, Katie, you got to see some of these locations, because it's
excited,
like, I remember you putting the updates on to like the Kickstarter backers and crowdfund backers and that this and that. And I was like, where the hell are you? Because you're in the middle of like Northern Europe or the British Isles, and you're getting some beautiful places. But then watching the movie, you also add some elements that are not practical. You do add some CGI elements, which is fairly new to your like filmography, is having these extra elements in post. Another skill set that makes me be like, damn, this guy can do anything. Where did you shoot the movie? And was it frustrating, or was it like really kind of a cool growth for you to add those kind of elements into the movie?
We shot in northern Wales in an area called Snowdonia. And, you know, you go to the forests in that area and legit, you expect a fairy to just fly out behind a tree or a little elf.
They're extinct because of fracking.
And it was great. It was fun to explore the elements of a bit of special effects, and start to play with some bigger set pieces and things like that. And I loved it. I really enjoyed it, you know, and it was very hands-on. My producing partner, Dustin Hughes, who I work with as well on all my projects, did the special effects himself, a lot of it, you know, and so it was a very immersive kind of learning experience for me in that, and with all the digital stuff.
Yeah, that's a new tool set that you didn't use in your other films.
Yeah.
And now are you going to go a little nuts with it?
Not really. No,
yeah.
not this next one, but it definitely was fun.
Yeah.
No, you were talking about how the film is kind of like a positive meditation on death, which I feel like that's nothing that I've seen before, and it's such a great way of describing it that I'm very excited to watch this movie.
Katie, you said you were going to drink yourself to death earlier in the show. So
I know, no, that was not positive, Jonathan.
Oh, okay. I'm the straight edge kid. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I was just gonna say, I was like, you're the one that's totally sober. No, but like no one really kind of focuses. Like if you hear a movie is about death, like it's usually like this doom and gloom. It's like, I don't know if I have like 90 minutes to cry all day. Like this is fascinating to me. Where were you in when you were starting to write this or like cultivate this idea that brought you to this kind of positive meditation on death?
He was probably on WebMD freaking out about like a sore tooth or something. And he was like, I'm fucking dying. I'm dying. I'm dying. I have to write a movie about this because I'm fucking dying right now.
I do that, unfortunately, so much. Like,
do you really?
I've self-diagnosed myself and my kids with some pretty It's pretty gnarly stuff, you guys.
Middle Ages shit.
And thank God I was totally wrong.
Yes. Leave that up to the scientists.
Yeah, seriously. Oh my God. But no, I think becoming a father and being a parent, you become really in touch and aware with your own mortality. And also when your children start to develop a vulnerability and a sensitivity towards death and an understanding of it, and not wanting you to die and not wanting their friends to die, and talking about what this all means while we're here, you know? So yeah, it was a really beautiful process to go through. And you know, I think Bodhi, his understanding of what we were trying to achieve was really astonishing to me too. You know, for his age, and it was a deeply fulfilling process to go through with him. You know?
Yeah, how was his reaction through this whole process? Like, I mean, did he find a deeper meaning with death? Or like, I mean, that's one of the things that I feel like every parent fears, is like having that conversation of like, okay, well, this pet won't live forever.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, I think the main thing that we try to teach and show in our household is that to be present and to enjoy each and every moment that you're here. And while you're here, since we don't know when our time is that we're going to go, that we should spend it being kind and loving and having fun. And so that's what we try to adhere to. And I think Bodhi, an extra level in his brain clicked, you know, with understanding that this time here is meant to be enjoyed as much as possible. And so I think it comes up in moments of disagreement or frustration. You know, it's a great thing to be raising children to remind themselves to help work through maybe some of their frustration or their feelings that they're having with gratitude, you know? And so his understanding of what it means to be grateful, and creating little gratitude lists in his head, and reminding himself when things get challenging, like, well, I have healthy brothers and sisters, I have a home to sleep in, I have food to eat. And these are all things that are really important to me as a human being and a parent. And it was a really cool thing to make a piece of art with your actual family, exploring these things, you know?
And you've made art with your family before, but the last one was very reflective of the relationship that you had with your brother and your mom, because a lot of that time was spent, some of your childhood was spent not having those things, you know, the times that you were sleeping in a car, you know, as a kid. And that level of, I mean, you seem like a pretty well-adjusted dude. I've known you for a while, and I've seen your art, and I think that it's part of your process, but that is still trauma. Is that right, Mark? Like, do you think that you're still processing your trauma through all this? And in making this movie, there was a sense of protectiveness, even though, you know, you want your kid to be free of you and to be able to go beyond yourself, but there's a sense of protectiveness too in making this movie. And I'm not saying you're Michael Keaton in that one movie where he's making all those videotapes and he's married to Nicole Kidman. You know that movie I'm talking about?
No.
Where there's a movie that Michael Keaton's in where he's like dying, so he makes all these videotapes. I think it's literally called My Life.
Really?
He's making like videotapes for his kid when they're dead, when he's dead. And it's like I think like Frank Oz directed it or something. But I think you took the other route where it's like, hey man, it doesn't have to be answered, like all of that. And again, I go back to that amorphous nature. How much of this is processing your trauma, like early on, the trauma of like being an early parent, you know, the trauma of all these pressures, you know, these these kind of like micro traumas that build up someone's life into who they are. How much of this is still part of your process?
Oh, you know, everything that I set out to make, every film that I set out to make is definitely processing things that have happened to me, things that are currently going on, different feeling states, things that are happening in the world. And I think I bring that to all my work, you know. I've always felt a sense of responsibility as a storyteller, especially as a filmmaker, to put out work that is at least tempting to be culturally impactful, you know, to spark real, deep, meaningful conversation. It's so, yes, always on some level, I'm bringing so much of what I've experienced in my life to what I'm making, you know, for sure.
But you make it feel effortless. That's
Oh,
what I
thanks.
get. But I get it from you, and you know, in I mean, a lot of credit. Not to take a credit away from you, but this DP you've got, this team you've got, and I mean, y'all probably don't talk that much on set because you have probably such a naturalist, like shorthand, where he's just finding moments. He's done it in all of your movies. He's just finding these documentary style moments that are poignant, and like in the edit or on set, you're nailing this stuff. I don't even feel like saying on set with you because your stuff is just like, we exist, you know, you're such a hippie. It's like we exist and the camera gets it. And then I go and I take it into Premiere or whatever, and I shape it. And it's like fucking effortless, dude.
Yeah. Well,
where did you learn this crap?
You know, it's funny. It's really hard. I think if people were to watch this film and guess all the moments that were purely spontaneous and just happening, they'd be wrong. and I think but it's really hard. It's really hard to make things feel so spontaneous and so authentic. But you know, a lot of the stuff that we shot in kind of the natural world, in reality, we would live in certain situations for a while. And so what it kind of looks like is, okay, today we're gonna pretend it's Bodhi's birthday and we're opening up presents. And so
that wasn't really his birthday. That wasn't a home video that you just happened to throw in your movie. You had to take those gifts away from him.
No. That was actually,
messed up, bro.
That was actually Bodhi's birthday.
Okay.
So we didn't have to pretend that it was his birthday, but what we had to do is we would repeat things, right? So we would do some takes. So some things would happen naturally, and it'd be awesome, and then we kind of just reset and then explore that a little bit more.
I know you're excited, buddy, but we're gonna have to rewrap the present.
I know, totally.
And we're gonna you have to reopen the present.
Do that same reaction, yeah. Is that how you kind of shot the entire movie, and how long did that process take?
No, it's not how we shot the entire film.
Okay.
I mean, we it took us about 2 months, but really spread out. You know, very often we'd shoot for about an hour or two a day, just because everything is so built around Bodhi and his feelings and his life, and I never like to push things too much.
He's not a Hollywood mom, all right? He's not Hollywood.
You're not like I'm not.
You're blocking Bodhi.
No.
You just cost yourself a muffin.
I know. No. Oh, that'd be terrible. But see, Bodhi's the type of kid who'd have been like, he would not be having any of that. He'd be like, "Excuse me, Dad. Like, I'm gonna have my muffin, and we're done shooting for the day." You know. So, but so much of Wales was that was, for lack of a better word, like traditional. You know, in terms of, okay, we're climbing up a mountainside today, and so we need to get this big wide shot. We need to get this coverage, and yeah, so it's funny. The fantasy realm of the film was a bit more labor intensive with the setups, whereas some of the more natural.
Mark, you're breaking up a little bit. Can you repeat that? The fantasy parts of the film were what?
Oh, the fantasy parts of the film were a bit more, you know, labor intensive.
Totally.
Yeah.
I
can hear him, Jonathan.
Can hear me?
I can hear him. So it might actually be on your end. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think I'm sorry. The lot might be coming in on you.
I can't wait until we can do the show in person.
I know. One of these days we'll get a vaccine out there. Specifically, Jonathan will.
I'm so impressed though with this setup though. I liked waiting backstage.
Oh, did you? I
Yeah.
felt so bad. I was like, Jonathan is just waxing poetic about your film. I was like, well, bring him in and ask him.
It's a little bit nerve-wracking though, because the little message underneath is like, you may join in at any moment.
Oh.
And so you're just like looking at your little square.
You're like,
okay.
what do I touch?
Yeah.
What do I do?
That's funny. Oh, did you, for like the more natural scenes in the movie, like, or I mean, I'm only thinking because I haven't seen it yet, but like the ones with you and Bodhi, did you have several cameras going at the same time, or?
Yeah, we would shoot 2 cameras a lot of the time, and but it's funny that the more that we went on, it became a bit more challenging to get 2 cameras into the situations that we were in. So we ended up, it was actually easier to just shoot 1 camera as opposed to 2.
You didn't want to going up that freaking mountain I saw in the movie? You didn't want to hike 2 up that mountain? You don't want to carry that? You don't want to do that?
No. And we all are, carrying our own stuff. He
made a 3-year-old basically do that scene from Kill Bill where like Uma Thurman goes up the mountain to, what I'm talking about? Like, like, what the fuck? He made a 3-year-old do that scene where Uma Thurman goes up the mountain to meet Sonny Chiba. And I'm like, really? This kid's going to do it? And I'm just watching this movie and the kid's taking the stairs like a champ.
Yeah.
Like, okay, here we go.
That's the great thing about kids, man. They're so malleable. Like, they don't care. They're like, yeah, I'll climb up.
We were really on an adventure too, like when you're out there on the side of those mountains and you got real swords and you got your real Viking gear on, we were, we were really on a mission. So it made those moments not just easier, but it fun, made it like fun.
You're legitimately like putting the world in there, like for him. Like you've got the costumes and everything. Like I'm not gonna lie, I'm like retroactively like jealous of like you like being a dad. I'm like, oh, could you be my dad? Like I want to go on those journeys and like wear those costumes and
Katie,
stuff.
I will adopt you, but you made fun of the freaking trident. So unless my daughter wants to do similar things, but like with a trident, then I don't have a place for you in my house.
Dude, give me a trident, dress me up as a mermaid, whatever the hell. Like, as long as we're on an adventure, that sounds like so much fun.
Done. And then the Geekscapists are like, yeah, he totally murdered her.
Yeah, probably.
He gave her a trident and chucked her ass off a boat.
She's still underwater to this day.
She wanted. I didn't know she couldn't swim in a mermaid outfit. I was being an artist.
My 6-foot tall ass would just stand up and I'd be out of the water.
Mark, where did the fantasy thing come from? Because like I said, like your other movies are fairly grounded in like a personal reality. And then this movie is the one where when I remember you shooting it and it's got like, effects that you got some of these characters from like the Henson Company and things like this. I'm sitting there looking at it being like, whoa, Mark is really stretching some muscles. Where did that fantasy element come from? Did it come from Bodhi? Did it come from you just wanting to stretch those muscles? What's up?
Both. I mean, so much of the movies that I was inspired by when I was younger, Labyrinth, Dark Crystal, and just Sesame Street, they were my jam. And so I knew it would be amazing if there was some way that we could get Henson's workshop involved with the film. It'd be like an incredible cosign. And then also so much of the fantasy elements came from Bodhi's stories, the stories that him and I tell each other and make up. So it was this beautiful like combination of some of my childhood memories of the movies that I loved and took me to a place mixed with Bodhi's own imagination. And yeah, it was pretty awesome. Getting the opportunity to have Henson work on our creatures in the film was, personal, take that off the bucket list for myself.
Okay. I personally did not know that the Henson Company was involved, and now Ivar already excited, but I'm like geeking out so hard right now because those guys are so amazing with what they do.
I know that we got their proprietary animatronics behind our grumblers, and our makeup artist, our special effects makeup artist had done work with Henson before too. But it had been a while, so it was his return back there and working with some people that he'd worked with before, and it was a really, really cool.
That's awesome.
Mark, when you talk about these influences, I get the fantasy stuff. I'm right there with you. This kind of free floating, I can't get over how just bold, or like just how much confidence you have to just let a movie be shaped like that. And like when I texted you, I said, dude, like it takes a lot of guts to make a movie like this, where you have to just not handhold an audience. What were some of those influences on a filmmaking side that you were like, I like these kind of films? Who were some of your favorites?
It's hard, I wasn't. It's hard. I can't think of anyone that I was directly influenced by. I think I've been so influenced. I'm so influenced by everyone that I've ever worked with, but I'm also just the people that I meet and come in and out of my life. I draw inspiration from, I don't know, the most random kind of things. And, I think the free flowing aspect, the poetry element to it, is just something that I like, and that I like to see. I like films that take a bit of time, and that you want to maybe watch again and see some of the things, the deeper themes and stuff, and the symbolism that's at play. I like movies like that, and so I don't know. Yeah, it's all for my own brain.
I told you he's such a freaking hippie, Katie. I told you
I love it though. Because you don't see filmmakers like this anymore. Like it's like you're actually having so much intention and thought. I was talking to you specifically, Lyndon. We don't see filmmakers like this anymore.
Oh, I'm a traditional little hooker. I'm like, you have it
commercial all the way.
I'm just on set with Save the Cat. I'm like, oh no! I'm just like
flipping through
my screenwriter AdLibs, and I'm like, oh no, we have to have this, and then this happens. It's a B story. I don't. You
have like a miniaturized version of like cut to the chase.
Save the Cat is like Save the Cat was a really rad book. I remember reading that, but it also ended up puts a little bit of a weird little bit of pressure, on you. Like, I need to it's page 30.
I have to hit this moment. Yeah. I think it's something that you described it as, Lyndon, like more like a prison, almost like it sounds like you're more like a prison break.
I will tell you how I use Save the Cat. I actually use like a form of Save the Cat called the sequence approach, but that's only because of my ADD. And what the sequence approach does is it takes the Save the Cat beats of like, Dark Night of the Soul and like Fun and Games and all that stuff. Geekscape is, if you Google Save the Cat screenwriting, you'll get it. Before, it's pretty common. But then what the sequence approach does, and a buddy of mine told me, because I was like, dude, I'm having trouble, writing through this script, is he goes, just Google look at the sequence approach. And sequence approach, some dude took Save the Cat, because I can knock out a short in a day. Shorts are easy to write for me. But when I start looking at like, oh no, I have to write 100, 120 pages, then I'll start being like, maybe I'll just vacuum the couch, or I'll relace all my shoes. And I have that issue, right? So what the sequence approach does is take Save the Cat, and it takes like the first act in Save the Cat, and it breaks it into like 2 8 to 12 page shorts that if you follow like the uptick or the downtick on a character, you're basically following Save the Cat, but you're breaking the script into 8 sequences. So there's like 2 in the first act, 6 or 5 in the second act, and like 3 or 2 in the third act. And as long as you write these kind of shorts loosely, you'll end up with some really nice 3-act structure traditionally, like you see in like a Disney movie. And they do it really well in a Disney movie. But what I do is I will write my sequences on like 1 page. I don't let myself go to 2 pages, or I'm overwriting. And I'll say like, okay, in that first sequence, this happens, second sequence, this happens, and I'll do all 8 sequences. And then I'll erase the title of the sequences, the thing that say like, the Dark Night of the Soul. So the dark thing has to happen, or the inciting incident should happen by this. I'll erase all of those goalposts that would lead me towards a traditional script. And then, but by that point, I filled in all the blanks in a traditional sense, but they can now have permission to become amorphous as the characters start to, I see it as like, writing a story, especially personal ones. Like Mark and I have talked about some of the stories I've done. And, I wrote a script about my divorce. When I told Mark first about, Mark, I don't think we've talked since my divorce, but when I first told you about my script, I think in 2012 or 13, I didn't even know I was writing about a divorce. I did not even literalize or vocalize in my own life, but I was telling myself, you are not happy where you are and you have to break a bone to reset it. And I wrote the script about that. And so to me, writing a script and why you don't stick to those nuts and bolts Disney formulas that they do better than we ever will, is there's a sense of like personal paleontology in any script. Mark did a fantasy. You can do it with sci-fi. You can do it with any form of imagination. I think that if you're going to spend a year on this script or 2 years on a film or 3 years on a film, you have a sense of like personal responsibility to yourself that it gives you something. And for me, it's personal. It's like this paleontology. And if you go too nuts and bolts on it, you've killed it. And you need to find a discovery in it. And for me, you start with that sequence approach. For me, is like coming in to a dig site with big tools. But I know that by the end of it, I'm going to be using the toothbrush to see what is really at the core of this thing inside of me.
That's great. That's cool, man. I dig that.
That's the gist. That's the gist.
I dig it.
Yeah.
So your process is exactly the same, right, Mark?
No, this guy is like, we're just going to show up in North Wales. We'll find it. Bodie, go jump in a fucking stream and not drown. And I was like, what? I was like, this kid slip on a rock, smack his head open. Like, what the heck? The kid's over there with this kid. Let me tell you what's in this movie, all right? It's like Fear Factor for 4-year-olds. Mark has this kid trudging through freezing waters in North Wales. He's holding a sword and he's walking on these moss-covered, slippery rocks with a sword in this chilly water. You probably see like ice float by and stuff. And I was like, that kid slips, that sword is going in his belly, and then that kid's going under the water. I was like, he could never make that movie in LA because we're too litigious. He couldn't make that movie in the US. They would take his kid away so fast. They'd be like,
luckily, it's his own kid.
Did you just put 80 pounds of fur pelt on your kid and make him walk up a mountain? There's no way. There's no way.
There's lots of tricks. Let
me tell you what the place with no words is. It's when your kid's too freaking exhausted to talk. That's what the place is. Spoilers.
The movie definitely has moments where you feel like, whoa, yeah. And those are the most fun because they're the most fake. So they're the fakest moments.
They're so plotted out.
They're so plotted out. And,
yeah,
and it's fun. And it's fun to see and know. And as an audience member, like, oof, that hits in a certain way. And I'm like, well, that's not what it looks like. Yeah.
Movie magic.
Yeah.
Would you ever do a Marvel movie, Mark, if somebody showed up and was like, hey, listen, we're gonna back the Brinks truck up, but you gotta get rid of this hippie stuff, man.
I'd act in one, probably, maybe. I'd probably maybe act in one.
No, we don't want you to do that. We want you to direct this thing. We want you to take like Spider-Man and be like, what if Spider-Man just like goes to Coney Island for a day?
I would love to see that.
Spider-Man just goes to Coney Island for a day and is like, you know what?
I know exactly what's going to happen. Mark's going to do it in real time. So every moment Spider-Man goes through.
I get hit up on Instagram all the time and people thank me for the Amazing Spider-Man because my
Mark Webb directed it.
Is similar, yes, to Mark Webb. I feel like I've had this alternate little reality of like getting praise for making a Spider-Man.
No offense to Mark Webb, we don't, but yeah. I don't think I can thank him for Amazing Spider-Man. I would love to see Mark Webber's Amazing Spider-Man where he goes to Coney Island and the kids walk out of the theater, they're like, he never dresses Spider-Man. movie. The guy literally stared at driftwood off the pier of Coney Island the entire time. What is this trash? And then you
really
realize
thought about the true meaning.
then you realize that in
That's
Dark
so
then,
good.
then you realize that in like Dark Knight Rises, he was only Batman for like 8 minutes the whole movie, and there's like no, it's like the same thing. It's like if you pay to see Spider-Man, you'd be ticked. There's more Batman in the Lego movie than there is in Dark Knight Rises. So enjoy that. I think we should make this movie. I think it should be like
I'm into it.
Yeah, we should do because Sony's got it. They're probably gonna sue us. So we'll try and kiss some butt. And like the first movie is called Spider-Man Far From Home. Second one is it's Spider-Man Homecoming, and then Spider-Man Far From Home. The third one's gonna be called Spider-Man Homeless.
There you go.
And that's it. And we need Mark because Mark has been homeless in his life, and he knows what that struggle is. So this is what it is. It's Peter Parker. He's got like a couple days. He's got a couple hours to kill. He's locked out of the house.
We got this, you guys. I'm saying, like,
and you know what? If we need a rights cleared name, we'll call him Arachnid Boy or something. Something like that. Yeah, just so we avoid all the legal stuff. But
Bodhi, you're up. You want to play Spider-Man?
I'm saying, guys.
Hey, I like it.
Hey, Bodhi, Children's Services isn't watching. Get over there on that roller coaster. climb it like you're Spider-Man. Protective Services ain't here.
This is going to be your new fans only page, isn't it?
You gotta see this movie, Katie. October 23rd.
I'm very excited. That's like at the end of this week, isn't it? Because
it's Friday.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I'm like, okay, I know exactly what movie I'm probably going to be putting on my game room episodes the next time.
An interesting doubleheader would be like Place No Words and then follow up with like Borat. I think that's coming out on Friday.
Oh, that's right. The new one.
Borat and then go Place No Words. I think Place No Words.
It's a good
follow
pairing.
up with Borat. Yeah.
This is like a fine wine paired with Taco Bell, but yeah.
From
absolutely.
art to fart. I think we got this. I think we got this.
Seriously, I encourage our audience to go do that this Friday and make some interesting correlations between the two. There's probably something there,
Give it that Borat bump. Yeah.
Because he goes into real life situations, right? He really inhabits and lives in a character. Things happen spontaneously. I mean, there's definitely a lot of reality cinema happening with his work. So.
And Mark has never pulled a permit in his entire freaking
Hell
life.
no.
Dude, you see him shooting in like Griffith Park and stuff. There's like people walking past, and I'm like, dude's stealing all of this.
No permits.
And he's not like a kid in a film school who's like, we gotta hurry. He's like stressing about being caught. Mark's like, whatever.
We're making art over here, folks. Who do you need permission to make a movie? Come on.
Nah.
No, man. Gotta make your art. Absolutely.
He didn't ask a friend to be like, dude, look out for cops if you see anybody. That's like people who have just moved to LA and they're like, bro, dude, we gotta steal this location. You gotta keep a lookout on all four corners.
Yeah.
Tell me if you see anybody. Just I don't know, text me.
Yeah.
He's sitting there. He's got his kid running around the back of an open truck. I'm like, this is dangerous. I'm kidding. The kid is not. I'm so exaggerating the danger he put his kid in.
I can't stop thinking about like how much fun this must have been for your son. Like just like purely like playing dress up and then like also having this film to be like an archival almost of like these moments and like getting to play pretend with like your family. Like how cool. Like it's such an amazing thing. Like is this something that like you always dreamed you wanted to do? Like having this kind of relationship with your son?
Well, yeah, totally. I mean, when I made my first film in this way called The End of Love with my son Isaac when he was 2.
Yeah.
That was Isaac. I'm sorry, I spoke earlier.
No, it's okay.
That was Isaac, yeah.
He's 12 now, and
he's just making the movies now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Holy crap, that kid is sprouted.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's like the most fulfilling thing, when you can make art with the people that you love, and you have these beautiful, interesting time capsules that 10 years from now, sitting down and watching this film with Bodhi is going to be so profound for us. And I love. I strive to make things that are timeless in that way, and that maybe are discovered 10 years from now, and that excites me, and I'm so happy that we all have this as a family.
That's great.
That's
really
good. Unless the relationships go bad, and then it's like,
It's even more interesting, though, I think. It works both ways.
You're such an open, accepting realist. You're like,
yeah, okay, that could happen.
That was that period of my life. You watch some of those home videos you made in college, and it's like, I don't want those to ever get out. Katie, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, there's a couple of things with me that I'm like, well, that should not be seen by anyone.
I'm still making those like short films where I'm like, no,
literally doing that every week on my Instagram. I'm like, I do feel like it's like one of those where I'm like, I'm gonna be embarrassed by this in probably half a year's time, but you know what? Let's make it anyway.
2020, folks, come on, just
that's what I say with Super Action Man. Every time I get in the chonies.
Super Action Man! God. I'm a fan of Super Action Man's work.
Every time that junk comes out, I was down the freaking street at the polling booth, and there were people walking up wanting to like drop off their ballots, and I was making this PSA in a Speedo, on Burbank Boulevard down the street, and people are like walking up. They don't know if they're going to be able to drop off their ballot or get completely molested by this guy in a Speedo.
Might be a Proud Boy, but we're not sure. I mean,
it's an American flag, and American flag has become like a warning now for some reason to be like, oh, that guy's it's like, no, I'm bringing it back. It's just in a really like stupid way. That's my art. That is my art.
It's effective.
When that voting sticker was right there in dead center on the package, I was like, oh God, London.
Katie. Let Mark be so. Okay, let Mark do the exploration of like theme and existence and all that stuff. I'm too dumb for that. All right, if I try and do what Mark does, you're gonna be like, "Hey, Jonathan, you okay?" And like blood's gonna be coming out of my nose, and I'm just gonna fall over. To which Mark would rush in with a camera and be like, "Let's capture it. It's life. It's beautiful. What can we make of this?" Jonathan, can you die again? We're gonna reset.
Lean into this. Lean into the feeling.
Every 2 minutes I die, Mark. Get the camera ready. What's next for you, dude? You talked about maybe doing another movie. What are you doing next?
I want to say everything about it, but I can't. I've been working on my next script for the last 2.5, 3 years. And the energy that I've been putting into it is like, maybe this is my last film. So
really?
Yeah, but in a exciting way, like
the way the lights fire out of your eyes.
And so I've been deeply inspired and really hoping and looking to be shooting that at some point next year. And in the meantime have just been on a really beautiful journey with this film. We got really lucky last year premiering at Tribeca and going on a world tour with the film, and being able to sit with people in a theater was really special, because nowadays we don't have that experience. So it's been amazing just being right on the verge of this film being out into the world for everyone to see. You
even had a retrospective. The dude got a filmmaker retrospective in Europe.
I did. That was amazing, you guys. It was really amazing. Good. It was in Poland last year. I played all 5 of my films and gave me an Independent Artist Icon Award, and and sitting and watching all of your work kind of back to back with packed audiences in Poland. It really
goes to your head, doesn't it? I can see it.
I am an independent icon.
Perhaps next time you come to our country to endanger your child, eh? Perhaps.
So I'm like, I was down. I'm down.
Yeah.
I was like, I see some stuff here.
Teresa, we got to have another kid. We're running out of actors here.
Yeah, you gotta make another one.
Back in the day, you needed to have kids to like work the farm. Mark's like, I'm running out of thespians.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh my gosh.
Got any more of those kids?
I
gotta get some diversity. Tracy, how are we going to do that one?
You're going to start adopting pets, and you're going to be making those.
Adopting them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, you're giving me a lot of ideas, to be
It's
honest.
like, well, I thought the next
Good.
one was my last film.
Yeah.
Right.
Then I gotta go make the one that dum told me to do on the podcast.
Oh, that's wonderful. I hope this isn't your second to last film. Like I hope to see a ton more work out of you, but
Well, thank
I
you.
understand that everybody's journey is on their own. But if this was your second to last film and you create the next one and you decide that that's it, what do you want to do after that? Like what's the thought, or is that even in your vision right now?
It's not so much now. I think that I don't know. I will be forever connected to the arts in some way. And I still very much love acting. And there's definitely plenty of people out there that I would love an opportunity to work with. And so, yeah, I think hopefully just continuing to act, but I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I love cooking. Maybe I'll just become a chef, you guys.
Okay.
In the second half of my life. No. I don't know.
We're done with
definitely I'm gonna be making some films as an actor probably until I die, for sure.
I love that. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Mark, dude, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. And it's awesome having you, dude. Like, that was really inspiring watching your movie last week. It was awesome.
Thank you. I'm so glad that you came. You know, it was pretty cool. It's pretty crazy. It was like a historical moment. You know, not everybody gets to have like a drive-in premiere during this time. So I was really grateful that people were able to come out and feel safe and, you know, see a movie.
No, it was fun. And again, Geekscape, as the movie comes out this Friday. If you're watching this live, if you're not, and you're listening to this on the podcast, that's October 23rd. The movie's called The Place of No Words. It stars Bodhi and his dad. We're
Mark.
just gonna go,
Yeah.
and again, and his mom.
That's amazing. Oh,
Mhm.
Yeah.
okay,
Well, it's a whole family thing. This guy doesn't want to pay anybody. He's stealing locations. Are you kidding me? He's flying people
Definitely
to Wales.
cheap way to do things. That's for sure. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, you kept it to 1 hour for the kid.
This
Yeah.
guy's got a farmer mentality. He's like, no, let's get another one. Teresa's like, I got to carry this for 9 months. No, you have the kid.
It's an investment.
You have the freaking kid. I'm telling you, he's going to start adopting people. It's going to get weird.
Mhm.
He's going to start
Never
doing
know.
it's going to be like Hostel over there at his house.
Mark,
He's
if you want
gonna
to
just-
adopt me and put me in a Viking gear thing or anything, you let me know. I'm free for adoption.
I called it first, Trident style.
Yeah.
Katie.
A trident and a Viking outfit.
I don't know.
What movie is that? I can't wait for it.
Put on an eye patch, Katie. Go stand over there, or you don't get a
Man.
muffin. Mark, dude, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me, you guys. This was really fun. Thank you.
Pleasure. Yeah, pleasure.
Mark, it's like, I'm glad you still think the lunacy is fun.
It's fun. This is great. This is great. I love it, you guys. Thank you.
Well, thanks, dude. Geekscape, I'll tell you one more time. Watch the film. You can find Mark online on social media. The Place of No Words has social media. It's got the Instagram. It's got the Twitter. Follow the movie. You're going to get some updates. And also follow Mark on all that social media so you get updates on his next film. Maybe he's starring in it. He's probably going to be in some TV shows coming up. I know you were in a couple shows last year, weren't you?
No, well, I was the only 2 shows I've shot 2 pilots.
Yeah.
And one I got fired from. And
was that Stumptown, Mark?
Yeah, it was.
They're based on a comic book, so the Geekscapists know it. It's based on a Greg Rucka comic, and I was like, "Oh shit, Mark's in Stumptown. It's based on the comic." And then I was like, "I don't think Mark's in the show anymore."
No.
Okay.
And then we did a LA Confidential pilot. That was pretty rad, but that didn't
go forward. They probably fired. Let me tell you, I don't want you to tell us why you got fired from Stumptown, but it probably had something to do with you showing up and being like, we don't need all this camera and equipment. What if my kid shows up and the kid will play the detective? And like,
I definitely had a hard time with the
structure,
the corporate entities.
Oh, I'm telling you, Katie, this guy is a freaking. He's like Dustin. He's like He's like Dennis Hopper over here. This guy.
I get it. I do get that though.
He's like a late
in trouble
60s.
several times for actually voicing my actual opinion on things.
He's like
it happens, right?
Yep.
It's easy writer. He should have existed like in the late 60s, early 70s. They're all running around with Bullock's cameras on drugs, making movies. Like that's Mark right there. Dude, you kind of missed your era, buddy. But you're bringing it back with this.
Bringing it back.
You're bringing it back. I hear it's going big in Poland. They're like, he's good. Run around with the Bullock's camera and make some art.
Great Polish accent, London. Really good accent.
You're the actor. You're the actor. I'm the idiot who people think are funny enough to watch for 15 years on this computer.
It's amazing. 15 years. Congrats. It's rad.
What else am I going to do? Go back to prison? I'm not doing that.
No, me neither.
No.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Katie, it was like,
I'm not about that structure. I got to break out.
Next time, pay your parking tickets, London. You aren't going to survive in jail. You didn't make it an hour in holding, pal. All right. We are so off the base now. Geekscape is, you can follow Katie online. Sassy Pants is her Twitter handle, and you just follow Jonathan, but just find me. But really find Geekscape and be a part of it on our Facebook, our Twitter, our Instagrams, all that. I built this to be a community for all of you, and it brought us together. And here we are, 15 years down the road, and we couldn't be at Comic-Con this summer, but next summer we will be hopefully at Comic-Con, and I'll have more shirts for you all. I've got some cool surprise designs coming that I'm really excited about that I talked to our designer, Fernando, who made the Geekscape logo. And he was guest a few weeks ago on the show. But these shirts that I just threw up that are the Heroes Wear Masks superhero shirt to get you all to wear masks and tell your friends to wear masks, those are going to go up in the shop pretty soon. I'm moving the shop over. And as soon as I mail out these pre-order ones, there will be a couple left over to put in the shop. So thanks for supporting Geekscape, and support our good buddy Mark this Friday, VOD, The Place of No Words. All right.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
For Katie and Mark, Geekscape forever, over and out.